You are already worthy of your dreams. Welcome to another episode of Healing into Femininity. My name is Joanna Fatonji, and I am a certified life mastery consultant with the Premier Training Institute for Life Transformation. And today I want to dive with you into the topic of worthiness, okay? You know that you have a dream. You know that there's something in you where you're like, I want more. Maybe it's more vitality, more love, or more money. I'm specifically talking to highly skilled women, corporate women, career women, women who have done all the things, checked off all the boxes, but still there was no fulfillment. That's the kind of woman that you are. I know, right? And the thing that I'm talking about today is worthiness. We all have wounds. All of us, we all have wounds in our human experience. And I believe the three wounds, like the three core wounds, even there are probably like a few more or there are nuances, but is not feeling worthy, like not feeling good enough, then feeling like we're too much or the fear of being too much, betrayal, and abandonment, right? Being cast out because of our desires. And those wounds run our life. If we don't become conscious of them, acknowledge them, this is what I also talked about in my video of the beginning of the series. Like the first video of this is start with pain. Start with the pain. Be honest with yourself that there is a level of pain that you have just learned to endure, right? Like you are so accustomed to just the pain of your life. And today, as I said, I want to talk to you about the feeling of worthiness because feeling worthy and really increasing this feeling, this embodiment of you are worthy of the dreams in your heart. I know it sounds so cliche. It sounds so cliche that sometimes we just switch off and we're like, okay, girl, cut the video, okay? But I really want to tell you again, and I'm going to tell you a story of my life that I think it fits very well. So I followed my intuition when I was in my first corporate job. So, little backstory if you don't know from my previous videos, if you're new here, welcome. So, I am the child of a German working class mother and a Ghanaian immigrant to Germany who was also like working class, maybe even lower working class. Or my dad made good money, but it was like a hard job. So, this is where I come from. Like, even the paradigm of coming from Africa as a migrant, as not being educated. My mom was educated, but she didn't go for higher education. I'm the first who made a university degree. Okay, so migrant, working class. My mom worked her way up to the top, and she's now enjoying a good pension, but it was still a lot of work, right? So, most of us come from a paradigm like that, a life like that, right? Even though I feel very privileged, like especially being the daughter of my mom, because my mom was always very good with money and she helped me do everything I always wanted. Like I had a very privileged life. I traveled early on, like I was tapped into two different cultures. I could always do what I love, like from outside school activities, dancing, pottery, traveling, um, everything. I did everything I always wanted, literally. Like there was no thing that I wanted that was actually denied to me. So I grew up a little bit like a princess, right? So I did all of these things and I always thought, oh yeah, let me go to the next level just intuitively. My mom never even wanted, like, she never forced anything on me. So she never even forced higher education on me. From my dad's side, it was more of an unspoken thing. I don't know, maybe you know the story of being a migrant or working class. Many times they push for higher education just to compensate for the lack of their education, which is understandable, right? But my mom really never pushed me. She always trusted me and thought, yeah, let her do her thing. She's going to make the right decision. So I went higher and higher and higher until the point of me being in corporate, right? I thought I'd made it. I was like, yeah, I'm here. I was living in my prime, literally. Like, I had just finished my bachelor's thesis, and I actually really loved the topic. It was the Ghanaian business culture from a Western perspective. It was part of my identity, part of decoding my cultures, like my cultural influences, making me understand myself even more, business culture, corporate culture. So, perfect ending of my academic career until then. I felt like I was ready to take over the world in my new corporate job. Mind you, my first job that I found was in accounting. Like, I just thought, I actually didn't know what I wanted to do in corporate. So I just asked a friend who was then this, like, the manager of this department. And he said, yeah, apply. And then he gave me the job, basically. So again, I'm going to speak about that a little bit, like the favor that I had on my life, and the privilege even. Yeah. So doors opened for me. I went into this role to very quickly realize that's not what I wanted. I am such a free spirit. I am such a capable, even then 10 years ago, capable young woman. And I thought, oh my God, like, that's not it. Like, just a few months in, I was very happy. Everything was fine. Everything was nice. I had my car. I had my apartment. I had the job. Like, I was feeling amazing. But I knew there was more. There was more for my life. There was more for me. And I always knew that I had something to give. I wanted to help people. Little anecdote as well. Just 2 days ago, I met my younger cousin, and he just asked me, like, what I wanted to become when I was a child. And I hadn't thought about this a question for a long time. And then it just hit me again. I always wanted to become a doctor. Like, I've always wanted to help people. And I'm saying that to say, also to remind you that, think back, like, what is it that you wanted to be when you were younger? Even if it was just like a childhood dream, right? I always wanted to help people. I knew that, always. I always wanted to help people, make people happy and healthy. And I went up the corporate ladder, as I said, but then I realized, no, that's not it. Like, I have something else to do. Fast forward, I realized I'm going to quit this corporate job, and there's more for me. And the first more for me was community service. Like, I wanted to give back to the community, actually help other youth to get to the academic level that I got to, and then into corporate. So I did a little bit of that, but I've also always been like a performative type. So I hosted women's conferences and youth conferences, and I danced again because that was also always something that I knew that I liked. So I tapped back into my creative gifts, which are many. And then I realized, no, like, the core of all of this, even though I have multi passions, right, which is a big word in this whole coaching field, right? Being a multi passionate. I'm going to make a video about that, because I actually believe you cannot be multi passionate if you actually have one path that you need to be devoted to. Even though these things can be hobbies, I believe they can't be part of your gifts. That's what I believe, okay? So I tapped into all of those gifts, realized, no, what I really want is to fundamentally help people live a better life. And I looked around, into in my own life. And many people say that charity begins at home, right? So I realized that my dad was sick back then, and I thought I want to help him. So I prayed. I'm a praying woman. I'm a spiritual woman. I believe in the guidance of a higher power. And I prayed, and I knew that's it. I want to become a nutritionist. I want to learn more about healing, healing through natural remedies, right? Food and herbs. And around that time, I was really into Dr. Sebi. This is when I began to like completely change my own diet, fast, right? I became a vegan. And and then I became a holistic nutritionist. This path alone was magical as well. I told the story before, but today I want to dive into the topic of worthiness, right? So I became a holistic nutritionist. Again, doors open for me. I came back. I came back from my little adventure into that world, and I came back home to start a vegan cafe slash restaurant with my mom. My mom is a doer. I'm a doer. Like we do things and we did it. Boom. So we had our little vegan hot spot. It was amazing. But before I came back home to open that restaurant with my mom, I prayed for a new door because I knew that just being a just being a nutritionist, just it's not just, but I knew that there was more for me. So I prayed again at the end of my training. And I said, God, like, I know I'm not done. So, like, what's the next step? And then I found my mentor, and then I became a life coach. I trained for becoming a life coach. I invested my first 14,000 euro into the training. I went to LA a few times. It was a rigorous training, like really, really heavy, but I loved it so much. And when I love something, phew, I dive head in first, right? So then it came the time to, yeah, translate that teaching into application. And the first clients just came. They were clients from inside the cafe. They coached with me. It was effortless. It was effortless. I was just in my doing, and people came to me. Okay, then things changed. Corona hit, we sold the cafe, and I was back on my own with the coaching business. And it went on. But then again, like I had to learn a little bit. That's why I'm saying like the multi-passionate thing doesn't really work, because I believe that you have to focus on something first to make it really robust and give it time to develop and grow. I was pulled into other directions today. I also know why, because I have this energy. I'm a generator in human design. So people think they can pull from me. They can pull my energy, but today, no. I'm only here for you. Like this is my business, okay? So, but with that being said, I went on this path on my own hero's journey, and I quickly found what I was looking for. And I believe that this is what many people are looking for all of their life, and they never dare to actually jump in. But I dared. Like I invested in my education. I invested um, in my nutritionist certification. It was around like 5,000 euro. Then I invested into getting coached into the Dream Builder system that I am today licensed to take people through. I invested in that. Then I invested into the certification of becoming a trained transformational teacher. 14,000 euro. And I know that so many people are afraid to do that, right? And I was always like, huh? No, because again, I'm a faithful woman, I'm a trusting woman. And this also applies to when it comes to money, right? Like I trusted my gut, I invested the money, and I don't regret it. I know that many people have invested in coaching programs, and maybe they were scammed, or they didn't get the results, or it didn't really work. Maybe really the coaching program was trash. I don't know. But I have to say, I found the right person from the beginning. Boom. And now here comes a true story. This is what I want to dive into. I had everything already. Like, I even trained on, I'm a life mastery consultant, as I said in the beginning. That means I am licensed to take people through even higher levels of building, let's call it that, higher levels of consciousness, but also the system of building a business. That's why I am here for women, spiritual women, gifted women, sharpen their gifts, but also build the system around it that it matches your energy and your frequency. But what I want to say is that I had everything. I had the business system, I had the structure, I had the strategy, I had everything. But somehow, at one point, I lost the faith in myself and my decisions because it was so easy. It was easy for me. As I said, I went straight into the career of my destiny, of my purpose, of my design, of who I am here to be. Being a life coach, helping other people live the life of their dreams and make the money that they love making along the way, right? I was only 29 when we sold like the cafe, and I was then all on my own, like 30. It was 30. I am 36 now, turning 37 this year. And it took me almost 7 years to come back to this place, to come back to fully committing to what I've already started 7 years ago. And this is where I want to talk to you about the topic of worthiness. You are worthy. If you have a calling, if you're watching this video, and if you have a calling on your life, you're worthy of it. If you know that you're meant to be a millionaire, if you're meant to be the first millionaire of your family, if you're meant to make your first six figures, or if you're meant to create a business structure that is high ticket because you know the value that you bring. Probably you bring skills and knowledge and talents from other career steps that you've walked through with you into the career that you are wanting to build now. And what I want to say here is that there is nothing you have to do in order to feel worthy, in order to be worthy, in order to be deserving of the life of your dream. There's nothing you have to do. There's nothing that you actually can do. It is so easy to understand, and I'm going to give it to you straight. Because you are a divine being, because you are the child of God, because you are a child of the divine, because you are incarnated spirit, you are a spirit, you are a spiritual being having a human experience, you are divine. And because you are divine, and because we came rich. This is the human journey. It is about remembering who we are, remembering our divine essence, and remembering that we are like the child of the king, the kings of kings, or the queen, whatever, the divine feminine, the divine masculine, right? You are the child of the queen of queens and the kings of kings. And your divine inheritance is riches, is an abundant life, not only money, but an abundant life, to have it all, right? The vibrant health, the beauty, the beautiful relationships, right? A satisfactory career using your gifts and your talents and your creativity, and to be richly compensated for them. That is our ultimate divine blueprint, inheritance, destiny, and you are worthy of it now. And just to bridge the gap back to my story again, just to make the point, is I have had everything. I have it. I have had it already. And I had the awareness. I had the system, I had the knowledge, I had the license to create my multi-million dollar business 7 years ago. 7 years ago. But I departed from my inheritance, my riches, my, how do you want to call it, your source of money, because I was pulled into other directions. And ultimately, probably because I thought that's too easy. I have to do more. I have to learn more. I have to make more experiences, which might also be true. But what I ultimately want to say is that the path to riches, to millions, and I'm not speaking about blah, blah, blah manifestation only. I speak about a real system, business system, real value, real transformation, real step by step, also formulas for transformation, rituals, consciousness, knowledge, and application, right? I have it all. I can help you create a multi-million dollar business today when you want. Yeah, when you're ready to do it. And if you're ready to do it, comment Dream Builder down below. The spots are open. The Dream Builder system is always open, is always running. We just have to see if we are a good fit to work together, because I don't work with everybody. You have to be ready. You have to have some credentials. You have to have a certain level of energy, but also of um, money that you've already made, right? A certain level of maturity, let's say that, right? But if you are ready to turn your gifts, your skills, your experiences, your expertise into a proven, repeatable, reliable system that takes also other people from A to B, creating a result, bridging the gap. If you have that knowledge, you are worthy. And that is the ultimate thing that many are missing. They don't dare to stay in the knowing of their worthiness. And then you start doing this, and you start doing this, and you start breaking, and you start negotiating your prices, and you start making discounts and all of that bullshit, right? Stop that. You are worthy. So, depending on where you are on your journey, again, I believe that if you're watching this video and you came until this point, you are either already fully equipped with your own story, skills, knowledge. Now we just have to package it into a system. Maybe you even have a little bit of an idea of a business, but up until now, you're constantly betraying yourself. Because, as I said, there are three core wounds: worthiness, betrayal, abandonment. And if you feel that you never got validated for your worthiness from your parents or the people in your life, you probably think you're not worthy. If you are betraying your own dream, right? Or if you got betrayed, you're probably now betraying your own dream, your own inner knowing, or you are abandoning your own internal voice of intuition, your gut feeling, your knowing, your destiny, your spiritual gifts. Those feelings, nudges, worthiness is so subtle. It's so subtle. Spiritual gifts are subtle, very refined, very sensitive, very psychic. You just know that you know that you know that you know. You just know that you know that you know that you know. You just know, but you can't explain, and you don't have to. And that is it. You have to root and ground yourself into your knowingness and build the structure. Build the structure around your business so you know that it's heavy like a real estate. It's not just subtle anymore. It is now actually grounded. And that's why I speak about the importance of a system around your gift. But ultimately, again, I don't want to make this video too long because I can lose my way. But the worthiness, you are worthy. And it's not when you do more. It is not when you go on to this next quest or when you try to make something loud and flashy. No, really, It is when you ground into who you are, when you know that you know that you know that you know. When you know that the gift that you have, the calling that you have is a calling forth of the divine. And you have to trust it more than you trust the voices of the internal judgment, when you trust it more than outside voices of people, when you trust it more than fear, doubt, and worry, when you trust it more than the fear of another betrayal, another abandonment. It is about faith, ultimately. You are worthy. You're worthy to claim your prices. You're worthy to stand on business. You're worthy to let it be easy because you've done the work already. It is about self-acknowledgement as well. Acknowledging that you've done the work to now claim your throne. You're worthy just because you're breathing. So let your sense of deservingness increase. Let your sense of deservingness increase. You deserve it, and you deserve so much more. The question is, can you believe it? So, with that being said, I am inviting you to guide you over the bridge from where you are to where you want to be, helping you discover and design your dream in alignment with your purpose, helping you navigate the terrain, right, from A to B, helping you learn a few new skills from the self-awareness, how to speak so you can actually move through fear, doubt, and worry, through anchor yourself into your worthiness, into this new identity, and ultimately to move from the power within you. These are the steps, the internal steps that we're going through inside the Dream Builder program. This worthiness topic is just one of the principles inside the Dream Builder program. It's a robust, step-by-step, proven, repeatable system that has transformed 100,000 people's lives already all around the world. And as I said, it transformed my life. It continues to transform my life. And if you're ready And you know it. Again, I know that the woman that I'm talking to, she knows it. Comment Dream Builder down below and I will contact you and then we'll take it from there. Okay? So until then, take care.